So today we're going to replace the rear shocks on this 1999 Toyota Tacoma. I bought some replacements. They are the KYB gas adjust. It is the KG5462s. So let's jump right into it. It's not a super difficult job. Okay, so here we are under the truck. You can look up. You can see the shock that comes down. And there is a short bolt that goes here and up here. You do not need to take this spare tire down. There's plenty of room. And let me just get a wrench on really quick. All right, so I've got the wrench on. That's a 17 millimeter wrench. And I've got two wrenches actually hooked together. So it just gives me a little bit of leverage. You can push on those and break them loose. And you can just do that on both of them. If you've never done this before, you can see how you hook them together. It's pretty easy, but it just makes it kind of like a pry bar and gives you a little bit of leverage. And you can do that down here on this bottom one as well. So I will take those off. And I'll stop the video for a minute so you don't have to watch all this. Alright, so I've loosened it up. And you can see right here, all it is just a big washer with a short bolt. I will pull that top one off and then show you how you remove it. Alright, so I got both of the bolts removed. You can just take your hammer, tap that off. It'll come off, and you can see you'll want to check kind of the cleanliness of these studs right here where the shocks slide on, because sometimes these get rusted up, but these ones both look to be in really good shape. So I'll just finish pulling off that grommet, and I will show how you put the new one on. So as I got looking at this bottom stud coming out where the shock hook's on, I noticed there was a little bit of rust. So I've just got a piece of 60 or 80 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to sand off the little bit of rust that was on there so it's a nice smooth stud, so it should slide on pretty smooth. Okay, now that that's cleaned off, we're just going to take our shock and slide it on part way. Didn't go quite all the way because we need to have a little bit of room to get this bottom one to go over. Now you can see that it needs to be compressed. Let me get this to focus just a little more, this shock. And if you get under here with both arms, you can push this up and you can slide it right over this stud. You just got to make sure that's only on about halfway. I will try to position this camera so I can show me doing this. But it's really not all that difficult, and then you can cut this. So some of these, you cut them and you can just slide it right on, but this one, it needs to be compressed just a little bit more, which isn't a big issue because they're not super difficult. So okay, I believe I've got this positioned so I can get under here. And I've still got that on halfway on the top. You just grab this, just compress it. And then that came off. And you can just work it on. So you can see that that's on. I need to push it on just a little further. And the same thing up here. I'll just get up here and tap this with my arm. And if it's still tight, you can still compress it just a little bit. And you can get it just to slide right on. So, alright. So it took just a little bit of tapping with my hammer. I was able to just get it up here like this. Tap sideways. Right on that rubber grommet. And it came all the way on. Same thing down here on the bottom one. Just nice light tapping. Went right on. And then we'll just grab these bolts with the washer and just put it right back on. So we'll do the top one and the bottom one, and then I'll move over to the next side. It's very similar. So, all right, so they are fully tightened up. You will know when they're tightened up because you can't go any further. So I will now move over to the other side. I'll have to crawl under, but you can see that it goes forward instead of back like this side. Okay, so I've moved here on the right side now. I'm in front of the right rear tire, and you can see that the shock is actually right here. The bottom mount in front of the axle. And if you kind of look up here, you can see the exhaust pipe. But right up there, let's see if I can get it. I don't have a lift. So you can see the bolt right there. So you just hook it on. It might be kind of slow up there on the top just because there's not a lot of room. But it's very doable with a box end wrench. Same thing here. And again, we'll just hook it on. And then we'll take the second wrench, like I was showing you before, and hook it on here to use as leverage, and you can get it to break loose. That was just with one arm. So I will continue to do this. Once I get these bolts off, we'll continue on. All right, so you can look up here. We're looking up towards the top of the shock. I thought I'd just show you. You can get in there pretty easy. It's just going to be a little bit slow. You might be able to get a socket in there, but I think I'll just continue to use the box end wrench just because there's enough room, and then once it loosens up, you can pull it off. And then we'll do the same thing. We'll just pop them off, just tap them off with a hammer, just like we did last time. And then we'll get this new one on. Okay, so to kind of get this off, if you start just wiggling this shock, you can see that it's kind of working its way out. And we'll do the same thing. Sorry, I'm trying to hold this camera and do it all at once. But here's the bottom one. We'll just wiggle it off. And you can see we've got a little bit of rust and corrosion on this one here too. Get this grommet off. And I'll just clean this off. That's not too bad, but I'll still, sorry, just grab a little bit of sandpaper. Just kind of sand her up a little bit and clean it so it makes, you know, the new one slide on a lot easier. You can kind of see that. Let's see if I can get this to focus. It's not too bad. There's a lip right there where it stops. So, anyway, I will get this new one slid on, and then I'll show you the final product. Alright, so I got this one wiggled on about halfway, but this side, we're going to have to cut this or pull it off and allow it to expand just enough to line up, you know, this hole with this stud and slide it over. So I'm going to try to position the camera here, and so you guys can see me try to do this. There's not much room under here, but I'm a 250-pound guy and I fit under here well enough, and this has no lift. All right, here we go. So I'm just going to take my knife. I will cut this strap, and it's going to start expanding, and I will try to hold it back long enough to slide it right over that. We'll see how it goes. You guys are watching this live, so okay, just like that. And then you're set. Then I just need to tap that top one on just a little bit and bolt her up. You can kind of look up there. See this not quite on all the way. I realize I'm shaking the camera, so I'm trying to do this. I will get my hammer up there and try to tap that without shaking the camera too. Okay, perfect. I will get this bolted up. Alright, so I have got both of the bolts started. You can see there. So I'm just going to finish tightening these up. And like I said, you'll know when they're tight because they just stop. They go to a certain point. So I guess this will be the end of the video. We'll tighten her up. But it's completed, and it's taken me a total of about 20 minutes. So, and that includes trying to film it at the same time. So if you've got some basic mechanical ability, it's actually a very easy job. So best of luck to you.